In this video, installing and implementing Skype for Business Server 2015, which is going to be called SFB 2015. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install and configure Skype for Business in the New York site. And then after I run the deployment wizard, I'm going to examine the log files. So in this one, I have the SFB CD. So what's actually going to do is install some continuous before the wizard begins. Okay, now that the Visual C++ has been installed this. I'm not going to check for updates right now, right here, but keep in mind is because this install for this one right here rather than yours. When you're doing this, in your organization, you probably want to check for this, but I'm not going to do this because it's a training lab. Accept the terms, of course. Okay, prepare to install. So in the deployment wizard, and we will use this one in some other videos also, I'm going to click on install or update. Now please, just want to let you know that notice afterwards, I just wanted to show you that that the AD section of it has been run. So notice that the AD, the schema, chorus, and domain for Skype for Business, of course, has already been run. Because remember that we've already done this. There are already servers in there. We're just adding this New York site. So we're installing this right here. And I'm going to install the local configuration store. So install local configuration store. I'm going to run this right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to retrieve directly from the central management store. We'll talk more about that later. You can see it's going through here. This could take up to 15 minutes. So I've done is install the run the deployment wizard on this one right here to install. And notice just some of the things here you can notice. These are actually PowerShell commands here. So with like most Server 2012 and all newer Microsoft products, PowerShell is a big part, running scripts and etc. So we can certainly do these ones right here. So that completes the install. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to examine the log files. Right here. So I'm doing is expanding, and I can actually see this on this. I'm going to look at Bootstrap full. This one's right here. So as you can see, as I've gone through the different ones here, and you can look through the different ones and just seeing on the log, and as we can see, the success, we have no issues on here. So I've installed the local configuration store and the core components on the Skype for Business front-end server in the New York site. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to request and assign certificates from an online CA. Here. Under default certificates, I selected the default certificate. I'm going to go request right here. Now I need to fill in some information here. Now it's very important that the friendly name matches. So it's best you do is from your installation instructions that you copy and paste into there. Organization, a datum, IT, United States, New York City, New York City. The zip domain on this one right here to be added to it. I'm going to select the datum. Next. And again a next. Make the summary right here. Request certificate. Next. Okay, I'm going to sign the certificate. So we'll take a look at it here. nypool, datum.com, details, certificate path from a datum.ca. In case we have this default certificate. Very good. I'm going to try finishing here. We'll go next. Datum.com. Okay, take a look in here. It's going to serve a default certificate. Next. Now at this point it should say completed. Now if it doesn't, if it says this is where you get a certificate HTTPS binding error, then what you just do is in the deployment wizard, you'll go down to where it check prerequisites for components and just run that again, and that'll do is install anything that's missing from IIS. Because ultimately, when this is all done under IIS, you should see these ones here. And you'll notice that it is deployed to HTTPS. And finish. Great. And now you're going to see all these certificates right here. Finish. Now under this one, notice these three: server default, web services internal and external, assigned. OAuth token issuer. To make sure that it says assigned on that one. Then I'm going to close it. Now getting back to the other one, if when you were installing the certificate, you got the error about the HTTPS binding error, let me bring that up. Then all I would do is I would go back here to step 2, set up or remove Skype for business server components and run it again. It will take a while, but it'll install any missing IIS configuration. Now that I've requested and assigned the certs, the next thing I got to start is the SFB services. And I'm going to do this on SFB3. Of course, I could do it this way, but let's do it the PowerShell way. Now, I can't just simply use this PowerShell one here. I'm going to actually have to use the SFB management shell, which is PowerShell with modules loaded. Of course, I could load them into there, but that'll be for another time. Let's take a look at that here. And there's other ways to get to this, but I'll just show you the easy way here. Management shell. It's loading the modules for, which I said you could load on the normal PowerShell or use the PowerShell ISE. Now that the module's been loaded, let's give this a try. So right here, yes. So now I've started the CS pool and it's running. So the next thing I'm going to do is completed that. Is I'm going to verify the Skype for Business connectivity to New York. So on SFB1, I'm going to the control panel, Skype for Business control panel. And in this one right here, I'm going to select the New York pool. So I'm going to log in as the administrator from the data. I'm going to select users. And I'm going to enable users. And I'm going to add a filter. And I'm going to select department. Department is equal to, and I'm going to type sales on this, and good. And I'm going to click on find. I'm going to do Control A to select all these users on here. And I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to assign them all to this pool, to New York pool, right here. Telephony drop-down list. I'm going to pick Enterprise Voice. And then I'm going to enable all these users. So after all this, I've requested, assigned certificates, started the services for Skype for Business front-end server in the New York site, and I've enabled all these users on there. And I verified the Skype for Business client connectivity to New York. This concludes this video. In my next video, I'm going to configure Exchange Server integration.